the some of the election results from yesterday. It was a huge, huge day for Southland elections, definitely. So let's take a look here. We have, let's start with Dalton. So really no surprises here. Again, yesterday was April 1st, 2025, so we had a whole bunch of local elections in the Southland. But the Democratic slates, Brittany, Kiana, Ed, they were victorious as far as the voting for the three Dalton trustees. Let me see. The clerk, there was no one else running. Mayor Dalton. I really don't know why some of the YouTubers, so many of the YouTubers, and a lot of people were giving so much time to this Cassandra lady. I mean, she didn't really seem popular at all. I didn't expect her to get many votes, and she didn't. She got 152 votes. Jason House got more than 3,000 votes. So I don't know why people spent so much time on her. I really wish the coverage would have been, you know, corruption in other towns like Harvey, Dixmoor, races in Sauk Village. Trying to think, Tinley Park, Orland Park. There were so many other towns that had really hotly contested races. I don't think anyone expected this Miss Hobson Jordan to do anything close to, um, you know, the results to beat Jason House. So anyway, let's see. I think we talked about the clerk already, right? Yeah, there's no real competition for him. So going to Dixmoor though, this is very interesting. So I was supporting a reform slate running in Dixmoor. Oh, hello. Wait, can I see? Sorry, I haven't done the screen share before, so I don't know how to see who is watching or who is not watching. I have one like or something. Okay, anyway, whatever, we'll forget that. Let's go back to our results. So, for Dixmoor, the Dixmoor United Party, I was supporting their reformers. There's a lot of issues with lack of transparency, and you know, oh, hello, I got a hi. I saw it pop up. Lack of transparency and a lot of corruption. Typical complaints that we see from politics in the Southland. So, unfortunately, according to this here the results here looks like, hey Cynthia, hey Cindy, hey guys. Oh, skate park says, what is this? We're going over election results for some of the communities south of Chicago. We had a big election yesterday. Let me see. Yeah, so they according to these results, they didn't do so hot. However, and the current incumbent, I think Fitzgerald is the name, Fitzgerald Roberts, and his slate did better in Dixmoor, but there were complaints of illegal activity around a polling place, and I think there will be some there's something that's going to go on regarding that. So kind of just keep that in mind about the Dixmoor results for right now. Um, and like I said, I still supported the Dixmoor United slate. I think that they had a lot of great ideas. So we'll see what will happen with that. Uh, Same thing with the clerk for Dixmoor, the incumbent so far, is shown as having more votes. And then the president, same thing. I was supporting Cynthia Masudo, but Fitzgerald Roberts is showing right now as the winner. But we shall see what happens because there may have been some irregularities, as they say. All right, so let's go on to South Suburban College. I did support Prince and Tihani, the two that won. So I guess I'm happy about that. Although I do have to say I don't know them very well. I tried to research them and then I asked some people that I trust locally about them and they recommended those two. So but I guess that's a good thing. We'll see how they behave. Hopefully they bring accountability and honesty and integrity to that board. Um, District 205, so that's Thornwood, and Thornridge, our big, um, one of the largest high school districts in the south suburbs. Bernadette Lawrence, Ray Banks, Sonia Bradley, and Almeda Vassar Moody won the election for that board. I think I supported everybody except for Sonia because she was new. I didn't really know much about her, but I got solid recommendations about Bernadette, Ray, and Almeda. So I was pretty pleased about that. Roy Lee and Kawania, I just didn't really know much about them. And at Whittington, I always want to like the Whittingtons, but unfortunately, Joe, who used to be my alderman here in Harvey, has not really. He's been working for Mayor Clark and has supported efforts like taking seniors down to the MWRD, really deceiving them and helping to displace others of our seniors from their homes for a retention pond that we don't even need. So it's been, yeah, Joe, at the very least, has been disappointing as far as not speaking up for the Harvey residents. So I guess Miss Whittington, I know she has been on the board for a while, and she was not reelected. So Sonia looks like the new voice for 205 board. I hope that again they'll there's always room to work on transparency, how telling people how they're spending the money. When I worked at Thornton, I had to leave. I was not fired, as some people like to spread that rumor, but I had to leave because there was so much bullying going on, particularly related to me being, an openly gay teacher, and even adults who apparently, even though they've been college educated, they think that if you're gay, you're like trying to convert students or make them gay. I'm like, first of all, you can't make anyone be attracted to whether it's the same sex or an opposite sex or whatever. But second of all, I was like, no, I was a very good French teacher and I made class fun and tried to care about the kids, but they still have serious, very serious bullying problems from what I'm told. I mean, I saw a lot at Thornton when I was there, but from what I'm told at all three of the schools. So that is always my number one concern is making sure that our kids feel safe. And then why I left 205 at that time was because when I would complain and say, hey, look, I'm being harassed, I have students that are harassing other kids, they're bullying, all this stuff, when I would try to take action or to have any sort of discipline or anything, um, they would basically just put it back on me, and say, "Oh no, you can't do that," or they would slap the kid with like 3 days, out of school suspension, then send him right back. And I'm like, no, they need intense mentoring, mental health counseling. A lot of our kids, okay, yeah, maybe they're creating problems, they're bullying, maybe they're even being violent at school, but it could be related to stuff that they're experiencing at home. But the district administration was always very unhelpful and would always blame me and other teachers for these problems. And there's only so much we can do. When you have 20 to 30 kids in one room, you have to teach. You don't have time to be sitting with one or two or three kids who have intense issues, intense problems. So that's always been a concern of mine for 205. I do hope that they're working on that. That said, I don't want to scare anyone, is in that there were a lot of wonderful teachers at Thornton when I worked there. There still are a lot of great programs, a beautiful historic facility there. It's just, we need to be supporting our teachers better and our students. All right, Harvey Library. Big disappointment there. I supported Mazurk Irvin because I trust that he always is trying to expose the truth and figure out where the money's going. So I was hoping that he would win. I don't know Sandra Broughton very much, or I don't really know anything about her. And I know Felicia and Angelette are connected with the McCaskills. I don't dislike either ladies, but I am kind of concerned because it seems like the McCaskills are trying to take over every board in Harvey. And if the Kellogg years taught us anything, it's that you don't want one family in control of too many things because it's just even let's just assume that everything that one family does is perfect and they're perfectly ethical. It just concentrates too much power within a small group. So I I'd like to see a little bit more variety in our boards. Let's see. Oh, and then the other one, that's right. There was no. I thought there was a write. I don't know how they show if write-ins won because I was told that um, Keisha McCaskill's daughter, I believe, was a write-in candidate for that two-year position. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. One thing I do have to point out, though, is that if you'll notice in general, all the Harvey elections and a lot of the elections, the turnout is so low. It's so sad. We've got to work on that, guys. People have to see the value in voting. Okay, so now to Park District, Harvey Park District. We have still, again, not the best turnout here. 8.5%, 57% of the voters came out. It's not good. One of the McCaskells, I believe this is Anthony and Keisha's son. So Aaron did win. Coleman was an incumbent. He did not win. And then Lakeisha Brown O'Neill, I supported her. She came highly recommended to me as a reforming voice, and I liked her platform of really saying, "Hey, we need more programs for our kids, and we need to be offering them more, and we're not using the money as well as we could." So I appreciate that. Um, Again, I encourage more people to run. I think we need more of a variety because that means there's the McCaskill son is on the Park District Board. Keisha is the executive director of the Park District. I don't know if Anthony still does something for the Park District, but I know he's involved or he's on the library board. So, we need more people to get involved, right? We need more of a variety. It's better, it's safer for democracy and to make sure that all voices are heard. Tinley Park. Ooh, this was a hot one. So I know Diane and some others had reached out and told me that they've been very, very upset with current mayor there, Mayor Glotz. So Mayor Glotz, unfortunately, in his slate did win. I hope that there were no voting irregularities, as they say. But I have received many complaints and shared some of the posts as well, as far as Glotz and his team have been accused of severe, severe bullying of women, especially, but really anyone in the community that just tries to even question what's going on. So again, yeah, Glotz was victorious there in his slate. That's Maura Tinley. Sauk Village. Now this was interesting. I forget who was allied with who as far as the trustees, but I do know that the on the next slide, I believe the candidate for mayor, I think she was the reformist candidate. I also received tons of complaints about their current, I think the incumbent is Burgess, the current mayor there, of similar things, lack of transparency, harassing opponents and people who question, things like that. So let's continue to talk about Sauk Village and look. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some more answers there. Robbins. Oh, let me let my dog out. He wants to go outside, but that's okay. I can do that while I'm talking to you guys. So Robbins. I don't remember who was on whose slate here. I know Ryan Buckley would probably be a better one to provide us more in-depth analysis here for Robbins. Um, But look at that turnout, 26%. That's better than most of the communities in the Southland. So way to go, Robbins, for that. Very happy to see that. Lansing, the Lansing first party was victorious. One thing I have to say that I'm very pleased about is that the two, wait, sorry, the for trustee here, the one Democratic candidate was okay, did not win. I'm actually glad to see that because I feel that with the Democratic slate led by Napoleon Harris and just in general the way the Cook County and the Illinois Democratic Party behave, they tend to just flood people's mailboxes and social media and everything. So you get lots of flyers, you get lots of signs, you get lots of social media posts, but what quality are we getting? It's very rare that you actually get interaction with these people, get them to answer questions, and no one wants to address on any of the Democratic slate for the Southland. No one will publicly address the extreme corruption found within the Democratic Party, not the corruption found under Tiffany Henyard. Remember, she was rejected by the Democratic players, but no one addresses the elephant in the room, which is the horrible neglect and um, encouragement of corruption in the Southland by the Democratic Party, which is largely in control of Cook County. Okay, I think yeah, was that everything for Lansing? Did I forget? Oh, maybe I forgot to cover mayor, but the mayor was from the same party, the Lansing First, I believe. Village of Orland Park. This one I think is a bright spot in Southland politics. Great turnout. Good job, Orland. 34%. I mean, obviously it should be higher, right? Like I'd love to see 75, 80, 90%, but relative to other communities like mine at Harvey, I mean, that's a fantastic turnout. I received many complaints about the incumbent and his slate. That was Mayor Picow, I think is how he says it. Similar complaints received about like the complaints that received regarding Mayor Glotz, where people were saying he and his slate were wasting money. They were not transparent about money. They were bullying and harassing anyone that would question where the money and how the money is and how it was being spent. So it does seem that this Orland Park for All slate, yeah, led by Jim Dodge for mayor or for president, that was a pretty, let's see, about 8,900 votes to 6,700 votes. So I wish him the best. I hope that he actually brings the transparency and the honesty that Orland Park deserves. So we'll have to watch that one. But he and his slate did very well. Okay, so let's move on to. Oh, I think this is a township, but we'll start at the top. Okay, so Thornton Township. We have according to the numbers here, the Democratic slate led by Napoleon Harris. Byron Christopher, Mary, and Valeria did well, and let me see, how did the Republicans do? Okay, so around 3 to 4% of the vote, and thank goodness the Reform Thornton Township slate, which is the slate of our mayor here in Harvey, Christopher Clark, who lied and said he pulled out of the race, but in fact he did not pull out of the race. He was still on the ballot, and as was his slate. So it's just they were a mess, and we were all telling people, any of the Harvey people, please don't vote for these people. I supported the Republicans, so I am disappointed. I was hoping that they would have done better. Again, assuming there were no voting irregularities, as unfortunately often can happen in Cook County. Um, they didn't do as well as I was hoping. I have nothing personal against the some of the Democratic slate, like particularly Mary has been great. I've gone to Dalton meetings and township meetings and seen her a lot, talked to her. Um, she's probably the one that I've spoken with the most. So I don't dislike any of the Democratic people for that were running for the township. It was just that I have a real problem with the way that the party is managing and the way, like, for instance, they didn't allow any of their candidates to speak publicly or to engage in forums or debates. Um, I just have a real problem with that. So it's assuming that they throw a whole bunch of money at flyers and posters and everything else, and just say they're Democratic, that means they automatically deserve people's votes, and I can't do that. I don't like that central control, and they never address, like I said, the decades of corruption allowed under Democratic control. So it's really an issue. So I say let's hold them to the standard of perfection, honestly, because they didn't want this Democratic slate did not want to debate. They didn't want to discuss anything. Um, like I said, they sort of were just assuming that they should automatically win. So I expect extreme transparency, fiscal conservatism, and they should even be discussing seriously, uh, uh, limiting the role of the township and or disbanding it, because I mean we need to account for how all these tax dollars are being spent. Antoine Russell defeated Tim DeYoung as highway commissioner. Again, another disappointment in that Mr. Russell, he serves, I think he's president of the Thornton Township Democrats, but he was also running for a mayoral position in Burnham. So uh, why are we encouraging more of this sort of corruption where you have people in major positions, multiple political positions? I think it's just unnecessary. Tim, actually, I supported him. He actually has the experience in government, working for South Holland for many years, and his father's been a South Holland trustee for many years. So I would argue, as far as someone who had the experience and desire for transparency and efficient use of our tax dollars, Tim would have been definitely the better choice. For the clerk of Thornton Township, there was no competition, so that was Casey. Again, I'm extremely disappointed that there wasn't more competition. There should have been um, people that ran, so that was kind of disappointing. These are fairly important positions, as we've seen with all the corruption under Tiffany Henyard. For the assessor, Cassandra, yeah, the Republicans, I don't think they had a candidate for either of these positions. But yeah, I think Cassandra was probably the only one that was going to win, because I think you also have to be certified to be an assessor or something. I know not just anyone can run. And then supervisor, we had Napoleon, had about 75% of the vote, that followed by Richard Dolan, the Republican that I had supported. Then Chris Clark, our horrible mayor here in Harvey, with about 4% of the vote. And then Nate Fields had just a little bit more of the vote than Richard Dolan. So I would say congrats to at least to Nate and Richard, in that they spoke to the public. They went to different forums, and they and their slate at least tried to engage. And shame on the local Democrats. Again, Napoleon, of course, our mayor Chris Clark, he never answers anything and talks about anything honestly, or publicly. But Napoleon just assumed, and his slate just assumed, that everyone should get his vote and get their vote, and that using money and sending out a whole bunch of mailers and signs was enough. I mean, so now we have the system that I don't believe in, where now he's township supervisor, he's a state senator, and he's a committeeman. This is combining more positions than Frank Zuccarelli had, and we had tons of corruption under Frank. So is this something that we want to repeat? I don't think so, but I guess we're just gonna have to try to hold them accountable and see what they do. I certainly hope that they'll be better than Tiffany. Richard needs a new suit. Okay, so that's Thornton Township. West Harvey Dixmoor, District 147. Ken Henderson seems to have gotten the majority of the votes for that position. He was appointed to fill a vacancy on that board. My question is, though, I believe with his record, I don't think that he can hold the post. So I don't know how that's going to work exactly. So we'll have to just see what happens with that. Quanda Craig, I believe she was supported by the incumbent mayor there in Dixmoor. And then Lizzie, the candidate that I was supporting, she came in third. I was definitely hoping for more support, especially to get at least one Spanish-speaking person on that board, considering all of the Spanish-speaking students in the district and the extreme corruption there as well. Okay, let's see next. Oh, okay, these are the other people for 147 board. So it shows Michael Smith and Mabel Chapman. They're the incumbents. That they were. Oh, and Bonnie Rattery was an incumbent as well. So they were reelected. Sharon McGee is one of the new reformers that I supported. Azucena did not get reelected, or didn't get elected. She was a Spanish speaker that has been very outspoken advocate for the Hispanic students that have been, and staff that have been mercilessly bullied and harassed by 147 board and staff. But hopefully, at least Sharon and Bonnie will be two voices for a reason. However, remember with all these Dixmoor votes, we will come back and visit this again because there were some complaints of improper behavior regarding this election. So we're gonna have to see what happens. South Holland, District 151. So that elementary school district is part of Harvey, like our little like east of Halstead. There's a small section, and then south, I think of 163rd, is 151, and then you have all of Phoenix, and you have part of South Holland that shares this elementary school district. So Ernestine, Patrice, Tiffany, and Michelle won that. I was pleased that Korean Davis and Maria Gandarilla did not win because Korean she works for the city of Harvey under our mayor, and she has been horrible. She's horribly rude to businesses, residents, and she helps to maintain the reign of terror that Christopher Clark tries to perpetuate in Harvey. And Maria, I believe she works with the water department in Harvey. Nothing personal against her, but again, they work every day to help Dictator Clark try to make Harvey as unpleasant place as possible for residents and businesses. So boo to that. I did reach out to Rika Louis Saint. I was hoping that she would win. She did seem like a reformer voice, but she, like me, probably didn't get as many votes as she wanted. Javar says, "Hey Ryan, hello." So Rika, but that's okay. We're not going to give up. I'm gonna be talking with Rika because that District 151. I want to learn more about them because that does include part of Harvey, and I really don't know much as far as scandals or what they're hiding, but a lot of these boards are hiding stuff. So now we come to my election. So the main school district, elementary school district in Harvey, District 152, we had a clean sweep from all the incumbents. So Linda, Teresa, Myra, and Casey won. Again, though, I'm not too thrilled and I'm concerned. So now Casey Nesbitt is serving full time on the school board for 152, and she's the clerk for the township. I don't know why we need people doing multiple positions. Like we have enough smart, talented people in the township and in the area. We really don't need all the overlap. It's not always the end of the world, depending on the positions. I mean, I know at least the school board is not as time intensive as being clerk of the township, but still, it speaks of a pattern of problems. And oh, thank you, Cindy. It speaks of a pattern of just bad habits, right? Like it's not uncommon in the Southland and in Cook County to see people holding two, three, even four positions. I mean, library board, school board, county this, that. It's just, it breeds, oh, thank you. Yeah, keep pushing. Ryan Harvey needs your back. Thank you, Javar. I will. Yes. No, we're not going to give up. But yeah, so I'm always not happy to see, like I said, when I know we have a lot of qualified people, and when I see people holding multiple positions, I had talked to some people about school board positions that had served in the past that people spoke highly of, and I even had some tell me I said, why don't you run? We have too many people it's always the same people. I also heard that Michael Smith won Harvey's school board district, I think. Oh, no, that was Javar. That was for 147. So that is part of Harvey. It's West Harvey and Dixmoor. So 152 here is that's the main part of Harvey. But I was talking to this person that had been on a local board in the past, and it was so disappointing because I said, well, why don't you run again? People liked you, and you seem to be very honest and trustworthy, and you have experience in education like I do. You're a teacher, and she just was like, I was tired of dealing with the threats and the bullying and the intimidation from the other school board members. And so that's why she didn't want to run again. See, that's the stuff that we have to fix that, you guys. That's not right. It keeps people off these boards that would be great, they would the honest people that we want. I didn't. I got the least amount of votes according to this. Let's see. I got about 6%. I got 170 votes. So obviously I wanted more, but it's also the first big election that I've done. Oh, let me check on the dog. I think my little one might have. Are you okay, puppy? My little one is older, so he needs help. I'll put him outside. But that's not Tiffany's Michael Smith. No, that is correct. So the Michael Smith that is on the 147 school board is he that is a different Michael Smith. That is not the Michael Smith who is a Riverdale resident and who was involved with Tiffany Henyard. So that's a different Michael Smith. But yeah, so this was my first, real foray into elections. I did run in 2017 for this same board, but I had really just moved back to the area, so so no one really knew me very well. So I wasn't surprised I didn't get a ton of votes then. I was hoping for more now, but hey, at least I tried to run. I ran an honest race. I was happy to not take money or orders from the Democrats or any party or person that was going to tell me what to do and not allow me to have an independent voice. I just really think that that's important. We need more people who are independent and not being controlled by big money and big power. Janisa Owens, I know her husband is on the 205 board, so she also ran but did not get in. And then Anthony McCaskill, he ran and he did not get in. I'm glad at least in that, like I said, I think we already have Anthony McCaskill's already on the library board as president. He works as treasurer for the village of Dixmoor. Um, Keisha is Cook County. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So Keisha is now Cook County Commissioner. She's also the executive director of the Harvey Library, and and then her son is on the. I'm sorry, executive director of Harvey Parks. Their son Aaron, is on the board for the Harvey Park District, and so I think it's good. Like I said, to keep it. Like we don't need to have to go back to the Kellogg years where you have one family running most of the boards. I think it's good to have more variety. So in that respect, it's good. But I would have liked to have been a new face. However, I'm not gonna, for that board, I'm definitely not gonna stop pushing for reform and transparency though, because we need it. We have lots of money that gets wasted on all these boards, and people bullying parents, teachers, students. So we'll keep fighting. I'm discouraged in that obviously I wanted to win. I wanted other people that are reformers to win. But there were still some positive things about yesterday's election. So I think one of the bright spots, like I said, was Orland, surprisingly. So Peacow is out. And let's hope that the new slate that's coming to Orland will do some good things. And no matter what, don't give up. So we will keep fighting for honesty, transparency, and true democracy. And the goal is to get away from big centralized money and opaque, party officials having secret backroom meetings to determine things. Right? We want to get more to where we have independent, critical thinking people in these positions. That's what we really really need to protect our communities. So thanks for joining me, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. Did anybody else have any other questions before we go? Let me how do I wait how do I end the screen thing? Okay, I don't know how to. I was gonna say I just wanted to go to me. How do I just show me? I don't know. Anyway, all right. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon. Oh, Cindy said thanks for all the interviews you did. Yeah, I hope that was useful. I want to do that some more. I guess I like for my election, I was disappointed. I was hoping to get more votes, even though I know it was just myself running it and it was a low budget campaign. But I was hoping that people would see my interviews and just get more excited about being involved. But Harvey's voter turnout was particularly low. Most towns' turnout was really low. So we have to keep working. I mean, I think we're making progress, believe it or not, but we definitely still have more work to do in that regard. Um, yeah. So here's my elderly puppy that needs help. I had to help him outside. And I know I gave he has like half a haircut. I was trying to cut his hair myself, so he looks crazy right now. But oh, by the way, I was gonna Cindy says cute. Yeah, he's my little cutie. I was gonna show you guys. I hope everyone is okay. Oh, but again, so you probably won't be able to see. I wish I could just turn off. How do you just turn off the screen portion? But we've had a lot of water, and I'll tell you what, these trying to put retention ponds in Harvey is not gonna solve the problem. But I wanted to try to show you some of my water. How do I do that? No, I turned it off. But anyway, you probably won't be able to see much because it's so dark. But yeah, so I have a lagoon in my backyard. I hope everyone's okay. It's really really bad. This is why we need better leaders to help us, because at least in Harvey, Mayor Clark's trying to put. Oh yeah, Dalton was on the news today for flooded basements. Yeah, I believe it. I like. This is why we need better leaders like you, Cindy, because for instance, like your poor, your bad leaders in Dixmoor are the main reason why you guys haven't had your water situation fixed for all these years, right? So that's why I was supporting better leadership there. For us here, Mayor Clark's been pushing through this retention pond and kicking out long-term residents to do it, and that's not even like we got information from climate experts in DC who are saying no, retention ponds are not the way to go, guys. You got to clean your sewers, repair them. They haven't been cleaned or repaired in years, and give people what's I gonna say? Oh, give people sewer backflow valves. That's what they said. And these are federal, like, there's no better experts on climate change and flooding in the whole country. And they helped us for free because they felt bad that Chris Clark was pushing out our, at many cases, elderly and long term residents. Some were the first black families to be able to buy on this block, Myrtle and Harvey. And they said, no, that's not right. Like, that your leaders are not concerned about helping you with your problems. They're making decisions that are not based on science or logic. So if they're not making decisions based on science or logic, what are they doing? That's my question. Soho has a flood program for homeowners. Yes, yep. So we found out that South Holland, and we brought this up to the MWRD and to Harvey, but again, they didn't care. They would rather push our residents out for retention pond. That's not really going to help with the flooding. So I think somebody's making money on it because I don't. It's either about that or it's a land grab that the city just wants the land, but it's horrible. But what was I thinking? Oh yeah, we researched South Holland and Calumet City have good rebate programs. So if you want to, like for my house, so my basement doesn't back up and flood in this, in getting sewage back up in my basement, I am going to have to install a sewer backflow valve. So it just, when you get sewer backup, it just stops it from coming into your house. Well, South Holland and Calumet City have rebate programs that will pay you but I mean you have to go through the program properly, but if you do everything right, then you'll get a rebate. You'll get the money back for putting in things like sewer backflow valve or sump pump or drain tile. Why can't Harvey do that? Of course we can, but this is why elections are important. When you have leaders that are more concerned about themselves benefiting than actually, helping people, that's what we get. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful evening. I hope everyone's okay. I hope your basements aren't flooded, and we will talk soon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you again for your support. I wanted to say everyone who supported me for my campaign, thank you so much. And we're not going to give up. We're going to keep fighting for what's right.